Atma Namaste everyone. Today we are starting a new series, The Nature of Mind, Hindrances to Self-Mastery in Life. And it's based on Lord Buddha's teachings. Buddha says all is mind-made, all that we are arises with our thoughts, and it's with our thoughts we create the world. Speak and act with an impure mind and heart, and trouble will follow you, as surely as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. So all is essentially mind-made. All that we are arises out of consciousness. Speak, act with a pure mind or heart, and happiness will follow you as closely as your shadow, unshakable. And Lord Buddha picked in particular 5 very common hindrances, entanglements or difficulties that come up as one simply sits down to begin to pay attention to one's life. And it's about these entanglements, the clouds, the projections and imaginations that they catch us up in any moment, and then how to work with them is what we are going to be reflecting on over the course of this series. And I so hope that you are nourished and inspired by these offerings. So let's just begin with a prayer of inspiration. So I want you to bring your hands on your heart. They could be in a prayerful position. And you may like to gently close your eyes. And just inhale, exhale slowly. Divine Supreme Being, inspire and charge me with your spirit. Let me walk the path of beauty, goodness, and righteousness. And I want you to touch your hands to your head and then back to your heart. Divine Supreme Being, inspire and charge me so that I can commit myself for the service of my family, my community, my nation, and humanity. Again, I want you to touch your hands to your head and then to your heart. Divine Supreme Being, inspire and charge me so that I live as a disciple and fulfill your will in everything and everywhere. One more time, touch your hands to your head and then your heart, and just keep your eyes closed. And I want you to visualize a chalice above your head, full of light. Blue, gold, yellow. Divine Supreme Being, let this chalice be filled with your fire so that I live with the fire of enthusiasm in the field of your service. And you may very gently open your eyes with a big, beautiful smile. And I'm going to start today with a story told by a master from the Shaolin temple to one of his students. So there was a man who was living close to a mountain, and every day he was thinking, how would it be to climb that mountain? And what would I see on the peak? So finally, the day came, and the man went on this journey. And arriving at the foot of the mountain, he met the first traveler. So he asked, how did you get up the mountain, and what did you see from the top? And so the traveler shared his path and also the view that he had had. But then the man was thinking, the way that this traveler described to me, it sounds very exhausting. I need to find another way to climb. So he continued to walk on the foot of the mountain until he met the next traveler. So once again he asked, how did you climb up that mountain? And what did you see from the top? And so again this traveler shared his story. And still not being determined on which direction and which way to go, this man asked 30 more people, 30 more travelers. And when he finished talking to all of them, he finally made up his mind. Now that so many people already shared with me their paths, and especially what they all saw from the top, I don't need to climb there anymore. I mean, this is very unfortunate that this man never went on the journey. But just to conclude this story first, each individual, each one of us, we need to find the most suitable way to climb that mountain. Whatever teachings, whatever spiritual practices resonate with you. It's not a cookie cutter model where one size fits all. Rumi says it's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. And second, there is information, there is knowledge which is possible to be shared with words. But it is impossible to share the experience of clarity when you're standing on that peak by yourself. To invest the right effort in climbing that peak. And this really pretty much is what all the spiritual practices are about. What is clarity? Clarity means you see more clear. And when you see more clear, you have accurate perception, interrelations become more apparent. And when you see more clear, there is no need to believe anyone or anything. Seeing clear means you can distinguish for yourself which is the proper direction to take and which decisions do I have to make in order to make my goals, my dreams, my aspirations start to take shape. So today and in the subsequent sessions, you will have the chance to become inspired by quite a lot of different travelers. I won't tell you which way to go. It's just that along your personal journey, you will encounter challenges like all of us do. And those challenges will either prevent you or some of them even stop you from moving on and climbing that mountain. Now, in the teachings of the Buddha, this is referred to as the hindrances or the clouds or obscurations that come to the natural mind. The mind in its true state or the heart in its true state is naturally luminous. Luminous is this heart mind, brightly shining. But it becomes colored by the attachments or entanglements that visit it. And Buddha says, this unlearned people do not really understand, and so they do not cultivate the freedom of mind. Luminous is this heart and mind, shining brightly when it is free from the attachments that visit it. So as per Lord Buddha's instructions when we sit in meditation, in that stillness, feeling the breath and body as we do, there will arise grasping, wanting, different kinds, desire. And thus the meditator or the disciple, a spiritual aspirant, must know that this is the mind filled with desire or wanting. Similarly, there will arise aversion and anger. And thus the meditator must recognize this is the mind of aversion or anger. Similarly, there will arise sloth and sleepiness. Thus the meditator must notice this is the state of sleepiness, dullness, lack of motivation, lack of energy. Or restlessness will arise, and worry or doubt may arise. And each time the instruction is to know when these states arise, to know when they pass away, to know the mind that is entangled by them, and also to know the mind or heart when it is free from them. So this is the text. And I would say it's really a teaching about how to work with the mind. It's like this story I was listening to about two monks living in a monastery, and one of them was always complaining about the noises people were making. He wanted it absolutely silent. But sometimes a car would come in and deliver food or gifts for the monks, or people would be talking, parties of visitors would come. And so he would be always complaining about the noise and trying to sit there and meditate, and the noise would be bothering him. And so one day, when all the monks were sitting around together with the teacher said to this particular monk, "You keep complaining about these things bothering you. What I want to know is who's bothering whom. There are those sounds, they are just the sounds. Who is bothering whom?" So what's most important before we talk about these 5 hindrances is to recognize that suffering and difficulty, it's built into the nature of life. So what we want to do is to make use of what's difficult, to find the wisdom or compassion or freedom in the midst of the difficulties of life. And as we do, we begin to pay attention to some of the most powerful forces that run our life, that run the world. So let me ask you, how many of you from your experience wrestle with fear or wanting or doubt? How much does the world wrestle with these? And when we identify or get entangled with these forces, they keep us from the reality of this present moment. They keep the heart from being open and the mind from being clear, true or not. So to elaborate this teaching of 5 hindrances, it's essentially describing different states of mind. In those states of the mind, it becomes very hard to see clearly and therefore engage in the right decisions. And what are these different states of mind? The wanting mind, or anger, ill will, judgment, fear, the judgmental mind, sloth and laziness, restlessness, and doubt. And I will take them one at a time and describe the states that arise commonly, not only in our meditation, but in our relationships, in our work, in our lives, and the way that one might work with them with the principles of the path of practice. The first hindrance is what is called sensual desire. And sensual desire, it arises in the moment when you're paying attention to something that is giving you a positive emotion. And this positive emotion can originate and usually originates from 5 gates of your body. And what are these 5 gates of our body? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling. So in your mind, you climb up that mountain, just to give an example, and after 1 mile of walking, you discover a beautiful restaurant surrounded by beautiful people. You smell delicious food and the great variety of beverages. And when you follow that temptation, you've already lost your track. And when this temptation becomes so strong that you don't want to leave that place anymore, then that sensual desire has turned into an obsession. So in both cases, remaining at that place means that you can't get clarity. And you obviously forget to climb that mountain. So that's what it is, the wanting mind. This is the state that comes in a moment. Here we are sitting quietly or having a tea in the morning. And all of a sudden, there arises the state that whatever we have is not enough. It's longing, wanting, desire, greed, need. And each time it comes, it takes us out of the moment and says, get that what you want to have. And it blinds us. We start to look for that. If you're hungry and you walk down the street, what do you see? Restaurants. So there's a Thai restaurant. Oh, I could have Thai food. Oh, but there's a really nice Chinese restaurant over there. But that Greek restaurant, I never tried that. You don't see shoe stores, do you, when you're hungry? You see restaurants. So it kind of puts blinders on us. It's like the teaching that when a pickpocket meets a saint, the pickpocket sees only the saint's pockets and nothing else. Now, the wanting mind or the mind of desire, it's not to say that all desire is unhealthy. There could be healthy desires or intention. There's a kind of will to do, will to help, will to serve, that can be associated with compassion or awakening or mindfulness or wisdom. But what I'm talking about here is this excessive, unwholesome desire, the wanting mind. It just comes and taps you on the shoulder in a moment and it says, if only you had this, then everything would be fine. Come and get this thing because what you have is not enough. Do you know this mind that comes? You have all this stuff and it says, well, one more. This will do it. Or you get that and then it says, well, just one more thing I forgot to mention. It's the mind that's not able to be where we are because it's entangled in the belief that some other experience, some other material acquisition or possession, some other sight or sound or taste or smell is going to make you complete. If only we had a little more money or a different place to live. If only I could wear that red dress. or that person that we know is someplace out there, that if only we could find them, our soulmate, and then they would always love us just the way we are. It taps us on the shoulder and says, this life, this moment isn't full. Some other moment will do it. And sometimes it's just a small thing. Like I was reading Jack Cornfield, who's a Buddhist scholar and writer, and he was sharing about his time in a monastery in Thailand where he lived as a monk for several years. And he wrote that as monks they couldn't have much, but there was this monk, couple cottages away, who had this really beautiful begging bowl. And his was kind of old. And he noticed that what did his mind say? Well, wouldn't it be nice to get a begging bowl like that? So it doesn't matter. You can be in prison. If only the window could open a little bit more. I mean, it's the smallest things. So it's the things that we imagine. If only we could get that, then things would be better. But it's not always that way, is it? So we strive for more. And then we try to get more and more and more and more. And pretty soon, we just get exhausted from doing that. Or there's this hole inside that no matter what we get, if we don't love ourselves, we get this and this and this and that, and we are still miserable. So how does one work with this? How to work with this wanting mind? So again, to quote one of my favorite poets, William Blake, he put it this way. He said, those who enter the gates of heaven are not those who have no passion or who have curbed the passions, but those who have cultivated an understanding of them. To enter the gates of heaven, we need to know where heaven is, which is here, in this moment. And we also need to know what brings it alive, what fills your heart with joy. So these are very powerful forces when we get caught in them. Greed and grasping and lust and longing and wanting more. It's a huge engine. So how do we work with this? So now the first step is to accept it, to bring in awareness that's gracious and interested, and see these states for what they are. So what does that mean? That means that they are part of the landscape of our life. And we don't want to, on one side, suppress them, because when you suppress this stuff, it just comes out someplace else. It makes a kind of armor. So we don't want to pretend that we don't have longings or needs or desires. Oh, I don't want anything. That just cuts you off from yourself. The suppression on one side. And the opposite side, what is the opposite side? It's acting things out. Well, every time a desire comes, try and fulfill it. So mostly what will happen is you will get tired and then in trouble. Or in trouble and then tired. Depending which ones you act out. So we simply want to begin to study the force in ourselves. And it arises like Mara came to the Buddha. Mara is a metaphor. Mara, in the Buddhist tradition, is considered to be a malignant celestial king who tried to stop Prince Siddhartha from achieving enlightenment. by trying to seduce him with his celestial army and the vision of beautiful women. So, Mara is a representation of inner temptations. Those states of being, such as anger, hatred, hostility, pride, jealousy, greed, lust, wanting, longing, that excessive desire for power, for wealth, for sensual experiences such as sex, drugs, alcohol, food, gluttony. It's mainly our ego as well that obstruct the path to enlightenment. And what did the Buddha say to Mara? The Buddha said to Mara, "Are you back again? I know you. Here it is again." Wow, this is a really big desire. That's a little desire. This is the heart that's hungry, or the body that is seeking pleasure. And it helps. So, what did the Buddha say to Mara? "Are you back again? I know you. Here it is again." Wow, this is a really big desire. That's a little desire. This is the heart that's hungry, or the body that is seeking pleasure. And it helps to have a little humor because it's part of our life. So, Mae West, she said that at one point, when forced to pick between two evils, I'm always inclined to choosing the one I haven't tried yet. So, the first thing is just to notice it's here. Here's this wanting, or this desiring, or this longing. And then the second thing is to bring it into the mindful heart, to receive it with mindfulness. And this is the vehicle for freedom. You can name it. Wanting or longing or desire, and feel it. How does it feel in the body? How does it feel in the tongue or the heart or the belly? Or what does it do in the body? What is it like in the heart? What does it do to the heart? What does it feel like in the mind? To begin to know the power of this particular energy, receiving it with mindfulness. And you can name it softly. Wanting, 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 desire, desire. And as you do, give it space. See what it does. It's like the weather, not to be afraid of it or try to push it away, but just feel into the center of it and know what is this force. And is it possible to be present with it without reacting, acting it out, or suppressing it? Until I know what's the right thing to do with it. And then, even if it's very strong, you become mindful of it. And then you want to soften the heart and the body and really, really pay attention, as if you could listen to its story. What does it tell you? Oh, if only I had this. Or you never got enough. You weren't fed enough. You weren't loved enough. Because the resistance to it makes it worse. You know how that is. Instead, you want to give it space to do its dance and show itself with acceptance. So this is the part of the power of receiving with a mindful heart. to soften the heart and body. When it is strong, listen to its story, bow to it like a cloud. The cloud comes and the cloud passes. Ask it a question. Ask your heart more deeply. Is this really true? Is this longing, this wanting? Is this really what I want? What does the heart really want? We've lost in our busyness sometimes the graciousness of life. And I'm going to read to you what Wendell Berry writes. She writes, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night, at the least sound in fear of what my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds, and I come into this peace of wild things. I come into the presence of still waters, and I feel above me the day blind stars, waiting with their light. And for a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. That's really the freedom of the heart that says, oh, here's wanting again, or here's longing, or need to know it for what it is, and then hold it with compassion and understand that what we long for can never be gotten by those things, but really comes from the blessings of our own love. So there's a graciousness to this, working with these energies. The wanting mind is the first one to know. So we're going to continue with the series on subsequent Saturdays, but for now I'm going to end because I want us to do meditate together. And it's a very special practice that we are doing today. It's a practice of deep listening, opening and sensing and feeling and listening with the body and heart and mind to find a graciousness and an ease and wisdom amidst all the changing experiences, all the different states of mind. So I want you to let yourself find a way to sit that's comfortable and stable and at ease. So there's a beautiful quality of both ease and presence. Aliveness. And when you found a stable and comfortable posture for yourself, allow your eyes to close gently. And I want you to feel your connection with the earth. Your buttocks on the chair or the cushion, wherever you're seated. And your feet on the floor, and how you're held by the earth, by Gaia, beloved Mother Earth. And you can imagine that you have roots going down from your body like a great tree into the earth, steady and stable. Now take a few deep breaths to release any obvious tightness or tension that you can. And you can visualize that you are sitting like the Buddha halfway between the heaven and the earth. Stable, steady, safe, rooted and connected to earth, receiving your nourishment from above, and rooted and connected deeply to Mother Earth. And scan through your body to see if there's any obvious tension that you can release further. Let the eyes and face be soft. Loosen the jaw. You may like to roll your head in a circle to release your neck. The other direction. And let it find a simple upright. Relax your shoulders and let your arms and hands rest easily, palms facing upwards. Let the belly be soft and the breath natural. And the heart be soft as well to receive whatever arises with kindness, compassion, and now with this embodied presence, we will practice the quality of mindful, loving awareness. I want you to bring your attention to the fact that your body is breathing. And feel it wherever it's most natural and easy. Let it have its own rhythm. Coolness in the nostrils, swirling, tingling in the back of the throat. The rise and fall of your belly. And as you feel this life breath, the body breathing itself, with each breath, breathing in and out, a sense of calm, steadiness. Invite a sense of calm. If the breath gets soft, let your attention get soft. And careful, feeling, sensing, listening with your senses. the felt sense in the body as each breath arises, passes away. And you are the loving awareness that's tuning in with ease and wonder as the body breathes itself. And as you sense the breath, there will be many waves of experience that rise and fall around the breath, thoughts and memories, sounds, feelings, and emotions. Let them rise and fall like the waves of the ocean, and you remain steady and attentive to feel the breath come in and out. Rise and fall. Rest with the breath. Let the body settle down. The mind begin to quiet. The heart be at ease. Now with this quality of presence, attention, a kind listening, a loving awareness, let us listen more deeply. Using the stillness, you can now inquire and ask silently as you sit, feeling the whole of your body. What does your body want you to be aware of? What does it want to remind you about? Let your attention understand, listen, sense. If your body had a message for you in these days and times, what is the message? And what part of your body wants you to pay more attention to it? You can know. Your attention will be drawn there. And what does this part of your body want you to remember, to understand? And now shift the same mindful, loving awareness, attention to the heart, to the seat of feelings and emotions, care and values. What does your heart most want you to be aware of this day on earth? So what does your heart most want you to remember, to care for, tend? What does your heart most want you to feel? With loving awareness and compassion. Now listen to your own intuition. You can gently be aware of your forehead, your crown, and also listen to your heart. Be aware of your heart. In this day, what does your intuition want you to know, to sense about this time in your life? What do you need to remember and pay attention to. Let it speak to you. What in your life needs extra care? Let your intuition tell you. And who in your life do you need to see with more love? With more clarity, more charity, and as you've listened and various understandings have come to you, now once again feel yourself seated halfway between heaven and earth, like the Buddha that you are, the awakened one, the enlightened one, open and pure and joyful and alive and unfettered in the mind and heart, with pristine clarity, luminosity, radiance, listening deeply with loving awareness and compassion. And feel in yourself that you have the ability to know, as you quiet the mind and tend the heart, you have the ability to listen deeply to yourself and to the world around with clarity and charity. And all it takes is feeling your breath and giving yourself some minutes to settle down, quiet the mind, and open the heart, and be present and listen. And finally, as a treat, while your eyes have been closed, some wonderful wise being, some great bodhisattva or carrier of love and wisdom, some great being, a higher being, your guru, your favorite saint, whoever it is, has left a gift at your feet, just in front of you. And then, with your eyes closed, you can pick it up and imagine this great being, this bodhisattva, this higher being, this luminous being, this bodhisattva of compassion, this being of wisdom and love, from any time and any place, some amazing being, some amazing guru has left you a gift, guidance. And this gift is a clear symbol of just what you need to be able to fulfill the understanding that you have just learned from your body and your heart and your intuition. Just what you need to embody what you know. So just let yourself imagine, with your eyes closed, reaching down and opening this beautiful gift. This gift from Guru Nanak, from Allah, from Mother Mary, from Buddha Kunyan, from Guru Medicine Buddha. From Lord Ram, from Lord Ganesha, from your spiritual guru, or your grandmother, or the indigenous elders, or spiritual elders, or some amazing being. And you open it, and there's the perfect symbol of just what you need to give you the courage and clarity to follow. What you know to be true. And if it's not clear, hold it up to the light, this brilliant light above your crown. And you can see and know and if its meaning is not so clear, you will notice that there's a little note that came with it. And you can picture or sense or imagine or hear just what this symbol means to you. The gift to fulfill is intuition, deep listening, to embody it. And now take the gift and feel your body breathing with all the beings of this earth, sharing the ocean of air, breathing in and out with one another. We are one. There is only oneness. Breathing in and out with one another and your steady place on this earth. Calm and easy. And with all that you have understood, let your eyes open gently and bring the wisdom, guidance, and compassion with you from the practice, embodied and present, as you return with eyes open to this time and place. And from my heart to yours, I send you all much, much love.